My background is in engineering. So I started my studies studying electronics and sustainable systems engineering in Australia. And then I pursued my master's in energy systems engineering and also did a program in entrepreneurship at Stanford. And my first job was to work with a professor on developing and commercializing a new novel solar energy technology. I then worked as a solar engineer at the Fraunhofer Institute, one of the largest research organizations in the world. But a lot of my work ended up being with early stage startups spinning out from MIT and Harvard. I was based in the Boston region at that point. So a few years ago, then I moved to Octopus Ventures. And now I'm at Foresight Group, which is a FTSE 250 listed investment manager with 12 billion in AUM across private infrastructure, private equity, and venture capital. And my role is I'm responsible for early deep tech investments in early stage deep technology companies across hardware and software. So as I mentioned, I started my career in engineering. I almost accidentally fell into investing. And it was while I was working in the US, working on technology development, product development with early stage startups, only to see some of the most incredible technologies fall through what we call the valley of death and not really end up getting the funding needed to commercialize it. So there were two lessons there. One, I realized that there is a big impact we make by investing in the right companies and supporting them, but also that great technology doesn't always translate to a great product unless there's a real market for it, customers want it and are willing to pay for it. So I wanted to work with companies to help make that happen, and that's how I entered the world of venture capital. So I think for me, I was coming from a non-traditional background. In a way, I fell into venture capital and at a stage where deep tech was evolving and opening up. I think a couple of issues I faced was around building the network, because again, I'd also moved countries, and while I might end up now having a network across the globe, at that point it was just setting up and building up a network. And venture capital market is quite a small sector, so entering into it isn't the easiest. And the other issue I faced, which was a bit more broad, was I'm not naturally a very confident person. I wasn't. And what I realized obviously is that, well, in my opinion, confidence and competence are two different things. But often they can get confused, and just building up my own confidence as well. So that's a journey I've been on too. In terms of the benefits, I think as a deep tech investor, it's one of the most exciting jobs. In a way, you have front row seats to see how the future will be built, which I find tremendously exciting. In terms of opportunities, I think it's an opportunity to continuously learn and grow. There's so much learning every day, so many incredibly ambitious founders you're meeting, learning about the different technologies they're building, the pain points they're solving for the world. And as an investor, I think I have the opportunity to then influence which innovations get funded and built, and we have the opportunity to be a part of something really impactful. And ultimately, successful investments can both generate strong financial returns and help make a positive impact on the world. And ultimately, that's what I'm trying to do. So women-led businesses, as I think all of us realize at the point, are consistently underfunded. Our experience has shown that female-led teams can outperform, delivering strong investments and returns alongside greater societal benefits. But while 20% of new businesses being incorporated are led by women, a significantly smaller percentage is what gets funded. And there is this stat I came across, which I think is quite powerful, that if women started and scaled businesses at the same rate as men, it would deliver £250 billion boost to the UK economy alone. And we can only imagine what that would be if we could scale it up across the different countries across Europe. So that's why I think it's super important. It's important to me personally for three reasons. First, I think there's just a huge untapped opportunity here to generate returns while also creating a more inclusive sector. Secondly, half of the global population is women. When we fund more women, we diversify what gets built, who it serves, and how value is created for everyone. And then ultimately for us, it's not just about providing capital for women-led businesses, but also creating a strong and supportive ecosystem for female business leaders. I think when this is executed successfully, it can also have a compounding effect where we're generating economic growth, but also inspiring the next generation of female founders, mentors, and investors. So my first would be again, going back on the previous one, when you're becoming an investor, there's so much more to an to making an investment, right? Everything from having the networks to identify and source good startups to doing the due diligence to then taking board seats and becoming part of the journey and helping supporting them. So there's a wide range of backgrounds that can help in different aspects. So I wouldn't wait to feel experienced enough in certain way or qualified enough. In a way, don't write yourself out. If you want to become an investor, then basically work on that. The other aspect I would say is about building your network. I find it's great for finding opportunities, both for becoming an investor, but then eventually also in terms of sourcing good deals, having a co-investor syndicate, because often we end up working so closely with other investors as well. So for me, those would be my two main pieces of advice.